Okay, so with respect to our last class, we have come across with file and record locking there. Okay, so here we will be coming across with directory file APIs. Okay, so with respect to directory file API, we have two header files which are to be included. One is stat.h and one more is unistd. Okay, so mkdir is a API which is reflexive for your command called out as mkdir. Okay, I hope so all of you are aware with this command called out as mkdir. Okay, so mkdir as a command says you are using mkdir as a command, and in front of that just you give the path name. Okay, but what happens in a background is by generically it takes across with your what do you say, default file permissions. So keep in mind, default file permissions for a directory file or else for a regular file, it happens to be with the read write and read write permissions given across. It is 666 as an permission with respect to your what do you say, regular files. Okay, whereas for your directory files it is 777 as a permission. Okay, so let it be with a 777 or else a 666. Always keep in mind that for all the files, for all the systems whatever you are working, there exists a umask value. Okay, so if at all you use a command called as a umask, okay, mind my command name. Okay, it is u and mask. Okay, so if at all you are using this particular command, okay, so it gives you a 3-digit display. Okay, so that 3-digit display can be like, for example, it is 022. Okay, so if this comes across, so these 3 digits are been deducted across by your file permissions there. That is, if at all I say 666, so 666 minus 022, so it happens to be 644. So 644 are your default permission for your respective regular files there. Okay, so in the same way, for when I take across with a directory file, so it happens to be 777 minus 022. So 777 minus 022 says across as 755. Okay, so 7 is nothing but wherein read, write and execute, all the 3 permissions are available. So whereas it comes across with 7 minus 2, that is 5. Okay, so where it happens to be with respect to, if at all I take 5, how is it been represented is 755 happens to be it is with respect to 101. Okay, so 101 says across as it is with only read and execute permission. So whereas write permission is not validated. Okay, so write permission is not there with respect to that particular thing there. Okay, so that is 101 as an permission. Okay, so it's with your umask and the values which exist for any regular file and directory file to be created there. Okay, so this is with respect to your directory file creation. So here with respect to your API, it takes two arguments. One is path name and one more is mode. So if at all you remember, mode is nothing but, what is this mode value? Mode value is the same one which exists in open as a API, if you remember. Okay, so for this open as a API, what is the mode value? So if you refer your open as an API, so there you have with s underscore, remember, s underscore I R W X U. Okay, so else it can be s underscore I R W G R P. Okay, so like this the permissions are there. So the same permissions are being taken across here. Okay, so that is with respect to the mode there. Okay, so that's the mode argument specifies the SS permission for owner, group and others to be assigned to the file. Okay, the return value of mkdir is 0 if it is success or -1 if it fails there. Okay, -1 failure are where you are giving improper path name or is where you give improper mode value there. Okay, so at that time it can be an error value there. Okay, so followed out with that, a record file is a record oriented file. You all guys know that record file, whenever you are creating a directory file, it is not with the what do you say, it does not hold any information there, it does not hold any information data. Okay, so it is directly with only just it holds all the sub directories into it or else the sub files into it. So that is the directory file there. Okay, so for this directory file, where every record whatever it has the file name and the mode number of a file that resides in that particular directory there. Okay, so that is held. So as for the other respective APIs, okay, which are to be dealt or else which are to be taken across whenever you open a directory, whenever you read a directory, whenever you close the directory, or else there happens to be one more, and that is a rewind. Okay, so whenever you open a directory, for us it is something like I use cd and in front of that I give the path name. Okay, so only this makes you change to that particular directory, and we use ls as a command along with the path name. Okay, so what will happen, it will display you the contents of that particular directory there. Okay, so for this particular thing, what is required, you require the header file called out as sys types.h. Okay, and there is a conditional statement which is used, that is if at all you are using bsd, and this does not because if I need to say this, so it is equivalent that I have to say regarding the POSIX as a job control and other things there. So just remember for time being that if at all your system is a BSD system and it continues across with the source, that is C as a program or else ANSYS as a program, so at that time what you have to do is you have to include these header files called out as hash include sys/dir.h hash include dirent.h. Okay, so if at all, if defined, so I am defining this particular sources there. Okay, along with that I define that it's a type def struct, so wherein I am taking across with an dirent. Okay, so this is an, like you had in file, okay, you have file pointers. Okay, so similarly for a directory you have a directory pointer. Okay, so that directory pointer is given across with dirent there. Okay, so there comes across as with the APIs called out as open dir, read dir, close dir, and one more is rewind dir. Okay, open dir says for any respective, whenever you are opening up a file, so you have a path name. Okay, so that particular path name is being opened there. Okay, so that you use across with an open dir there. Okay, so it has a return type, you can just see here the return type is a dir asterisk, so it is equivalent to it points towards across here as you have an file pointer. Okay, similarly you have a directory pointer. Okay, so this tells you that which file was opened or which file is opened and other things there. Okay, there comes one more, that is read dir. Okay, whenever you are reading the contents of that particular directory, how do you read it? If I want to say across with any reading of a directory file, so that's nothing but I am just using ls as a command there. Okay, ls and in front of that the file name there. Okay, read dir. So here you can just see that what is my argument which I am giving here. I am giving as, if at all you remember, for any file, okay, you have an file descriptor value, that is fd. Similarly for any directory you have a dir underscore file descriptor value. Okay, so which is of a type called it as dir asterisk. So now whatever is written back here, the return, it will be usually an integer type only, but it will be in a specific manner there. So that's why it is taken as dir asterisk there. It's a pointer address. Okay, so that pointer address is taken here. Okay, so this is a pointer address of a directory file whatever you are referring there. Okay, so that is read dir. Okay, so read dir takes this as a input and it reads the directory contents there. Okay, and it returns back with a dirent. Okay, so what is this dirent now? So dirent is nothing but again the same way as you have a directory file pointer here, the similarly I am using with an another pointer address type, then that is called out as dirent there. Okay, so this is for read. I require only one argument and that's a file descriptor. Then comes the next one is close. Okay, close dir. What do you mean by close dir? So this I have extended it. Okay, so actually it has to come here before rewind. Okay, so close. So you have come across with close as an API. Okay, now it is with close as an dir. Okay, close dir. So I am closing the particular file descriptor value. Okay, so that particular directory file is being closed. Okay, and it's with a return type called out as int. So 0 on success, -1 on failure. Keep in mind you're closing the directory file. So that's nothing but for us it is something like cd backslash or else cd dot dot. I'm using these commands there. Okay, if I use cd dot dot and press an enter key, so that's nothing but one level up I'll be moved there. Okay, then again I'll use cd dot dot, so that is one level up again I'll be moved. So that is with close dir. I'm closing a particular file descriptor value there. Okay, that's a work which is done in backend. And the last one you can just find here, it is wide rewind dir. So what is this rewind dir? So you must have come across. So let you lie anywhere. Okay, let your pwd be anything. Pwd is present working directory. Okay, be anything. So what will happen is, when as soon as you press ls as a command, okay, ls, and give the path name. So what has happened now? So even if last trace you had went with a subdirectory, okay, now assume that there is 3 level hierarchy there. One is over here, here, and here. Okay, you just give the path name. So you had traced till here. Okay, but what you had wanted, you wanted from the beginning. So what backend work will be done is, when you are just using for your reference, it is just a command name, and in front of that the directory file you will give. But what is happening? It is again pointing to the root directory and not the subdirectory. How this is done? By backend, this particular API is run, and it does not have a return type. Concentrate here. It's a while. So while says that it is not returning back anything. So at the end of your all traces, what it does not remain back in the subdirectory position. It goes back to the main of it. Okay, so main is nothing but it goes back to the beginning of that particular root directory there. Okay, and from there it is nothing but a rewind. How you play on a music stereo system. Okay, you'll be playing it. Okay, it will run for a certain duration of time, and then again you'll be rewinding back. Okay, it's the same way. And default rewind which happens with respect to that particular entry there. Okay, so that's the one. So here you can just come across with the same. I have given across with an explanations for all of them. Okay, it's a self explanatory slide. Okay, you can just go through it. Okay, it is with it opens a directory file for read only. Then it returns a file handler, as I said, as you have a file pointer, similarly you have a directory pointer, okay, which is used for your future reference of that particular file. Okay, read dir, okay, then comes close dir, rewind dir. Okay, you can just come across with all of them. Okay, so next you have two more, okay, which is added along with that. Okay, one is tell dir and one more is seek dir. What is this tell dir? So it this particular thing I have not taken it as an extension, or else I have not taken it as an with respect to your main entry of a API is there. Okay, only because this is for your later versions of Unix which is available. Okay, and it is not available with the prior version there. Okay, so wherein it comes across with tell dir is nothing but it tells you, it returns the file pointer of the given directory file descriptor value there. Okay, and one more is seek dir says you, it changes the file pointer of a given directory file descriptor to a specified address there. Okay, so it is something like you all have come across with lseek as an API. Okay, so lseek says you, it gets you the file pointer address to the beginning or else to the end. Okay, or else where is your current file pointer. So how that will be done? Similarly here seek dir as an API will be doing it. Okay, so next comes across is your device file APIs. Okay, with respect to your device files, okay, so this is used to ultimately in your command type, if at all I want to say, this is the command, the same command name, the same direct API name. Okay, here also the same command name and the same is the API name also. Okay, so here with respect to this mknod, so you can just come across mknod, you all know regarding this particular type of a device file, and that's called out as this particular usage of a command, and that's for creation of device files. Okay, device files are of two types, if you know. Okay, one is called out as a block device file and one more is called out as a character device file. So when I want to say it as a block device file, so wherein block of information is transferred across within a device file there. Okay, whereas if I consider it as a character device file, so wherein I am transferring across with every one bit after an character transformation. So if at all it's taking across with a printout, okay, from your respective soft copy, whatever you have, so that I can call it as a character device file. The printer can be called out as a character device file. So if at all I consider it as an hard disk or else it can be a pen drive, so I can straight away say that it's a block device file. Okay, let it be a block device file or else let it be a character device file. Always keep in mind these device files has two things with it, and that is called out as one is major number and one more is minor device numbers there. Okay, so it is something like I can straight away say it. Like for example, you have a major and a minor number is something like I can just say it as you have a contents file as your very first one. Okay, like for example 1 introduction. Okay, then it comes as 1.1. Okay, in introduction there is a subsection, then 1.2. Okay, so major and minor numbers are nothing but major number is this one, which tells you what is the work of that particular hardware device, whatever you are looking across. Okay, so along with that, what is this 1.1? 1.1 says you this is a minor number if I want to consider. Okay, minor number says you this is the entire functionality which will tell you that what is that device file is doing, whereas 1.1 will tell you amongst that what is its sub functionality which it is going to do. Okay, that is decided by these major and minor numbers. Okay, just for your consideration, these major and minor numbers are just like your what do you say, you can just call it as an integer value. Okay, but even then whenever you are specifying it, okay, you will be specifying it in an what do you say, bit formats there. Okay, you will be specifying it with respect to the highest significant bit. Okay, so if at all I am considering it as an 8 bits there. Okay, so at that time highest bit are being taken across as a major number and the least significant bit, okay, so that is being taken across as your minor numbers there. Okay, so for this MKNOD as an API, so there are two header files which are taken here. One is sys/stat.h and one more is unistd.h there. Okay, so here you can just consider for this MKNOD as an API, you require the first one is path name, second one is mode. Okay, so I need not tell you again. Mode is nothing but which you have come across in open as an API. Okay, yes underscore, okay, IRWX, okay, U, okay, then comes with a pipeline, yes underscore IRGRP. Okay, like this you are giving permissions to a particular path name. So the same permissions are given specified here in respect to mode as an argument. That's the second one. And the last one is device ID. So as I have specified it as an integer type, so as I said it just now, so which is usually given in a format of right shift bits and all those things. If I am taking this as an example, okay, 16, then I say across with the shifting of it towards the right with the 8 bits there. Okay, so if at all I consider I devise this particular thing, okay, as I said you just now, most significant bit has been assigned as a major number, okay, and the least of it is been assigned as the minor device number. Okay. This is for your device file APIs there. Okay, and in all you can find that it returns back an integer type. So what's this int now? 0 on success, -1 on failure. Okay, 0 on success says across as successfully you have looked across with all the things and it has been done. -1 on failure is where you are giving improper path name. Okay, else where you are specifying improper mode, that's a permission. Else device ID. Okay, if at all specify you, if at all this specification is wrong, so straight away you can say that it's a failure. Okay, so this is with your MKNOD there. Okay, you can just come across with an example here. Okay, so wherein it says the path name argument, okay, is the path name of the directory to be created. Okay, you can just go through this, it's a self-descriptory. Okay, you can just see here the device ID contains major and minor numbers, because these two are quite, you can just get to know that very easily with the thing. Okay, and one more I forgot to specify, I'm sorry for that. Okay, the second argument when you are specifying mode, okay, so when you specify this, along with those permission you have to specify whether you are creating a character device file or else whether you are creating a block device file. Okay, how to specify this is by using this as your very first argument. You can just see here, yes underscore if blk. Okay, it says that the file whatever you are creating, the file name here is SES15. Okay, this SES15 is a block device file, I want to say that. Okay, if at all it's a character device, you will be specifying here called out as yes underscore if chr. Okay, chr says that it's a character device file. Okay, along with that I have given the permissions here. RWX read write execute permission for user, that's a owner. RWX permission for group, then RWX permission for O. That's the others. Okay, either you can use it like this, else you can use the keywords called out as GRP, OTH as in place of others, or else it can be the place of, if at all you are using group, keep in mind it should be within only these many keywords, only these many bits there. Only in 5 bits you have to end it. Okay, it is something like if I use IR, GRP, IR, OTH. Okay, and the last one you can just see here, it's with you can just read it across. The lowest byte of a device ID, as I said you just now, the lowest byte of the device ID is set to the minor device number, and the next byte is set to the major device number. Okay, so wherein you are creating this, I say across with the major number is 15, the minor number is 3. Okay, and it says that, and SS rights of read, write, execute for everyone, okay, is being given across here. Okay, so it says ultimately that these are the respective, I don't know why it has come here. Okay, are extended to 14 and 18 bits. Okay, always keep in mind. So this will be taken across in bit formats, and based on that the devising will be done. Okay, so on that it says across as 15 happens to be the major number and 3 happens to be the minor number here. Okay, the lowest byte is assigned to the minor number there. Okay, just for you guys to remember, just keep in mind that it is something like 1.1. Okay, sub major number tells you what is the main action of that device file. 1.1 tells you what is the sub main action which under that particular device file will be contributed there. Okay, so then one more is, if a calling process does not have a controlling terminal, okay, and it opens a character device file, okay, so keep in mind the present terminal, whatever is there, okay, so that will act as your controlling terminal. Okay, so that is with respect to if at all no CTTY, if at all I am saying controlling terminal is not there, so it is no CTTY flag is set in the open call. Okay, so then it says that O underscore non-block flag specifies that open call and the subsequent read or write to the device file should be non-blocking to that particular process there, if there is no controlling flag or no controlling terminal there. Okay, so this is all with respect to your APIs there. Okay, so next let me continue with the same, that's with your process controls there. Okay, so with respect to process control, you have process identifiers here. Okay, so okay, that all which I completed till now, those are with respect to file. Okay, everything I said in my prior classes also, if at all at the prompt, okay, if at all I use anything, okay, so I call, if I use cat and then if in front of that if I create a file name or something like that, I call it as a file name creation, file creation and other things there. If I use gedit, I call it as a file creation. So here what happens is, whenever you are creating, whenever this particular thing is been done, so hence after we will be taking in terms of process there. Okay, process control. So for that, keep in mind, okay, every process has an unique process ID, as every file has an unique file descriptor value. Okay, similarly every process has an unique process ID there. Okay, and it's a non-negative integer value. Okay, special processes, that's a process ID 0 is there. There are some preoccupied process IDs that cannot be that cannot be given across to any other processes there. Any other process ID cannot collide with that. So what are those? One is process ID 0, which we call it as a scheduler process. Okay, also known as, we can call it as a swapper process also. Okay, one more, and then comes is process ID 1, which is init process. You can just see here, process ID 0 is called as a scheduler process or else a swapper process. Process ID 1 is there, and that is called as a init process. Keep in mind, init process is we can call it as an ancestral process, and it will never die. Okay, this process, you can kill the other process or else you can terminate the other process, but you cannot terminate this init process there. Okay, it will be running always. Okay, as soon as you on the system, the very first process which will be running is your init process there. Okay, then comes is the other normal user processes are there. Okay, and one with one more is there, that's with the id 0, id 1, and one more is there with id 2. Okay, that is for page daemon. Okay, these are all the processes which are run in background continuously. Okay, you are not triggering them. Okay, as soon as you on the system, these all things will be running in an background there. Okay, so if at all I am saying every time a process has a unique id and other things there, so sometimes I have used a word called out as every process is being called out as soon as it is been created, we call it as a child process. Okay, and the one which creates that particular child process is called out as a parent. Okay, so for all of them, so I call it straight away that how to identify these ids there. Okay, these ids can be identified by these set of functions which can be used to identify that. So for that you require two header files. One is unistd.h and one more is systypes.h. Okay, the first one is, always keep in mind for them the return type is pid underscore t. You cannot take int here. Okay, then comes pid underscore t. One more you have uid. Okay, one more you have gids. Okay, so if at all I am taking get pid, okay, and all of them are with no arguments specification, that's with void. Okay, so get pid tells you the process id. Okay, it returns back the process id. Get ppid, it returns back the parent process id there. Okay, so for that particular process, who is the parent, so that has been written back. Get uid, it returns back the user identification number. Okay, that's with the as I said, you will be the creator, you will be the owner of that particular process, so you will be also having an id there, so that will be determined by uid. Okay, then there happens to be one more euid. Okay, there are actually other things also that we call across. Okay, euid is called out as effective user id. So if at all you want to know the effective user id of an user, so that can be determined by using an API or else a function called out as get euid. Okay, one more is get gid. Okay, get gid tells you with a group id. Okay, so what's a group id there? Then comes get egid. Okay, egid, as you have here effective user id, similarly I have effective group id also. Okay, so that's with gid underscore t. Okay, so these are all the functions. Okay, so which is these are all the functions which are being taken across as for determination or else for getting to know the processes there, process IDs there. Okay, all of them return back and non-integer value on success. Okay, -1 on failure. Okay, but whenever they are returning back, do not expect these values 0, 1 and 2 there. Okay, apart from that, other all values will be given to you. Okay, -1 on failures are, we are determining for such a process which is not at all existing or something like that. So at that time we get it. Okay. So if at all you remember, I had said you, we had talked about this in operating system also. Okay, as I have taken operating system to you guys, so that's why I can directly connect it. Okay, in an operating system, you have to come across with an process of shell creation there. Okay, so shell is created. Okay, or else a process is created. So for that you require 3 functions there. What are those? If you remember, if you recollect, fork, exec, wait. Okay, these 3 functions are must and should. Okay, so there when I was telling you guys, so just I had said you that fork is the creator of the process, exec is the decider what has to work in that particular area, and the last one is wait. Wait is being executed by the parent process until the child process completes its execution. Okay, but now in this particular semester, okay, with respect to this Unix programming, you will learn about 2 different types of forks there. Okay, so 2 different types of forks. One is called out as fork and the second one is called out as vfork. Okay, then you will be coming across with 6 different types of exec as an APIs. Okay, and the last one which you will be coming across is the similar one which will be coming across with different types of wait APIs. Okay, so with respect to fork, the only way to create a new process, okay, is been done by this fork as a function there. Okay, it requires 2 header files. One is types.h, one more is unistd.h there. Okay, fork, it does not take any argument, that's a void. Okay, so fork as an API, it returns back two things there, keep in mind. The return type of fork is 2. Okay, why it is 2? It has to return back to kernel saying out that whether it has successfully created the child process or no. Okay, for that it returns back 0 on success, -1 on failure. Okay, it has one more return value which it has to do. Okay, what is that? It has to return back to the parent who has triggered that particular creation there. Okay, so when it has to return back to the parent, it will return back the process ID of that particular child process, saying that so and so child process has been created there. Okay, so this is with respect to your creation of an child process there. Okay, so it has a return value of PID underscore T. Okay, you can just see some of the self descriptory as it's a slide which you can go through it. New process is created by fork and it's called out as a child process. The function is called once. Okay, as I said you just now, it returns two things there. Okay, the return value in the child is 0 or -1 on failure. The return value to the parent is a process ID of the new child. Okay, the child, keep in mind, child is a copy of a parent. So copy of a parent is nothing but it inherits all the features what the parent will be exhibiting. Okay, whatever parent has occupied with the text segment area, or else what it has occupied with the data segment value. Okay, so all of them will be appearing with respect to even your child process also. Okay, instead of completely copying, we can use COW, so wherein we call it as copy on write technique there. Okay, so with respect to any process, there are some 4 segments which will come across in your further classes actually in detail. Okay, what are those? One is called as text segment, data segment, heap and stack. All of them are being shared with the child processor. Okay, so that's why the child process should be very cautious when it has been using across with these respective segment areas. Okay, I hope so you have got across to know with this fork there. Okay, so fork creates a duplicate copy of a file descriptors opened by the parent. Whatever parent has opened, it will be using the same things there. Okay, there are 2 ways of handling these descriptors after the fork. Okay, one is parent waits for the child to complete. Okay, one is that. Okay, one more is after the fork. Okay, immediately after the fork, the parent closes all the descriptors and it does not need that the same thing has to be done. Okay, but apart from this, keep in mind, as I said just now, that the child happens to be the copy of the parent. Apart from that also, it exhibits or else it inherits few more properties from a parent. What are those? Okay, it has real user ID, real group ID. Whatever real user ID and group ID are there with parent, the same are lying across with the child also. Whatever are the effective user ID and group ID of a parent, the same will be lying with respect to the child also. Okay, then it can be, you can just go across supplementary group ID, process group IDs. Okay, whichever process group the parent is lying across, the same process group will be laid across with the child also. Okay, these things you will come across in your further classes. Okay, in your next module, I can say straight away in your module 4, the process as a section he has elongated it. Okay, and there you will come across to know with these sections in detail. Okay, so that's with process group ID, session ID, controlling terminal. You guys have come across to know with these terms. Whichever controlling terminal is for the parent, the same is for the child. Okay, process group IDs are nothing but, if at all I say these are my 4 processes. Okay, 1 2 3 4 and a 5. Okay, these 5 process, as I say group. Okay, similarly I have process group also. If I say all of them are lying in a process group ID called it as 123. So 123 happens to be one of the ID amongst this particular process there. Okay, so that happens to be the process group ID. Okay, whatever is shared sorry, whatever is shared amongst these, okay, it will be shared amongst all the processes also. Okay, so session ID is nothing but such kind of process groups. Okay, now this I can call it as process group 1. Like this I can have one more group and I can call it as 2. One more I can call it as 3. Such process groups concatenation I can call it as a session there. Okay, and for that I have a session ID. Okay, that is with session ID. Then controlling terminal, whichever is the set user ID and group ID. Okay, the same happens to be for the child also. Current working directory. Okay, then comes root directory. Okay, uh, whenever there happens to be a creation mask. Okay, so if at all some signals are being masked across from a process to enter. Okay, that is if at all that signal occurs also, it will be almost like ignored there. Okay, so those things also will be inherited from the parent to the child. Okay, signal mask, disposition, close on exec flag, these all will be inherited from the parent to the child. Okay, so apart from that also there are few more: environment, then attached shared memory segments, there resource limits. Okay, then return value of the fork, process id, parent process id. There are few more things. Okay, ss time, user time, file locks, whatever are exiting. Keep in mind the file locks set by the parent are not inherited by the child. Okay, these three things are not been set out, are not been inherited from the parent to the child. One is locks, the second one is alarms. Okay, and the third one is pending signals. Whatever pending signals are there with respect to parent, it will remain with that only. The child will not carry forward it. Okay, so this is with respect to the fork there. Okay, so this is with the fork there. Okay, along with that, there is one more creation which is used for a creation of a child process, and that is vfork. Okay, what's this vfork? It is same as fork only, but keep in mind here it is the child. There I had used a term called as copy of a parent address space is done, but here what will happen? The child runs in the same address space as the parent is running. Okay, so that's why little bit we it is quite, you can call it as, it is quite risky also and quite dangerous also when we are creating any child process using vfork. Why? Only because, why, as it is, of course, we'll be sharing the address space between a parent and a child, but here what will happen, it will be running actually in the address space of the parent there. So if at all it makes any changes with that, so it will remain back forever there. So that's why it is little bit risky. Then that's why fork is more in use than vfork. Okay, vfork guarantees that the, and one more very important thing is, further in your classes you will come across with a term called as a race condition. Okay, race condition is all about which process runs first. Now as soon as I create a child process, does child process run first or else a parent process runs first there? Okay, to justify this, vfork says that the respective child process only will be running first. Okay, the first priority is given to child process, then comes the priority given to the parent. Okay, so this is with respect to your vfork. Okay, so further we have wait PID. Okay, and next I have with EXEC and different EXECs there. Okay, which I'll tell across in the next class there.